الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
You. They have faith in you. Why did they choose you?
Honestly, it when boils down to the things that you're capable of doing, and the experience that you bring to the table, I think is what ultimately uh, convinced and persuaded my constituents to vote for me to hold this office. They believe that I'm capable of making hard and informed decision for the betterment of my community and my city.
Okay. Sir, I would like to ask, since you have been chosen, you are working or you are representing only Muslims or everybody?
I never ever thought that I would represent any group of people. When I ran for office, I knocked on everybody's door, whether they were white, African American, Asian, South American. It didn't matter. I knocked on everybody that lived in my community to ask for their support, and ultimately I got majority of their support. So I never knocked on only or engaged only one group of my residents. I engaged everyone.
Okay. So, you being a Muslim, how are you contributing to America?
I I necessarily don't look at how am I contributing to American society as a Muslim. I think how am I contributing to my community and to America by being a citizen of this country. You know, I don't look at my faith has anything to do with it. It's about my ability to help my community and my city and my country be the bright star that the world knows that we are. So I never look at my faith as part of how America is conveyed to the rest of the world. I think it's what we do, what we stand for, the values that we hold dear as Americans is what ultimately the message that I want to convey to the rest of the world is our values as Americans, that we will stand and will stand with the ones that are less fortunate and the ones that needs the help.
Okay. So, do Muslim communities they have any specific issues, problem being Muslim living in America?
I never, encounter any particular issues that everybody else don't face. I think the Muslim communities are facing the same problems any other communities are facing.
So,
You know, how do we improve quality of life? How do we educate our children better? How do we make sure they have a good future, prosperous, careers in their lives? I think that's the same goals and objective for any community or any faith.
so do you feel Muslim being in America, they are free to practice their religious activities, or they can freely move here and there, or they can do whatever they want, or they're equally treated?
Absolutely. I think that is one of the most sacred, fundamental values that we have as Americans is that you are free to practice any religion, any faith, any denomination that you choose. And you are given that right. And in America, you are free to go and do as you wish, as long as you don't violate the law. Yes, absolutely, you're right. You are free to practice and live your life the way you see best fit. Uh, Challenges always comes in our lives. Doesn't matter from what point or what direction. It's how you take on that challenge or face the issue ultimately determines who we are and what we stand for. The Muslims in America are not facing anything that is out of the ordinary that other, minority groups may have faced in the past or may face in the future. Challenges are there to keep our democracy in check, because people will challenge our process, our fundamental values, our democracy. But as we have seen, vast majority, if not all, people of color in this country have come out and supported no ban on Muslim and any other issues. So when you see people stand together, they don't just stand together as Muslim, they stand together as Americans, and they stand together as neighbors against any wrongdoing or any negative condensation of any culture or any backgrounds.
Okay. Sir, I would like to ask that what's the way forward now? I mean, you are, mashallah, inspiration for youth, and we can learn much about you from you. So, what would you like to say to our youth? I'm not talking about youth in America, youth in Iran or Afghanistan. I'm talking about youth in general, the whole world.
The one thing that I can say to our younger generation, you are the future generation. You are what our elders and myself and the people that's working hard to inspire, to open doors, to open your ears and eyes, that there are so many potential for you to be the next leader or the next doctor or the next entrepreneur of our communities. And I ask that you get engaged, find ways to volunteer your time at your mosque, at your synagogue, at your church. Find ways to, be involved in your school, after school programs. How do you get engaged? You have to have that energy. And those young generation, they have tremendous amount of energy that I wish I still had now. But that's going to be the future of any country, of any culture, any community. It's the young generation. And we have to promote and find ways to engage them and give them opportunity to share their ideas and thoughts. There are, in our community, we are, our first priority is engaging our future generation, which is the youth.
Okay. Sir, I would like to ask what Muslims can do to improve their perception in the Western world, how they can improve their perception.
Perception, it's a hard thing, because in perception is its own individual's reality. Whatever individual perceived to be, it becomes their reality. One thing I can say to my community of Muslim individual living in America, as we preach and as we talk in our mosque, in our homes, in our families, that be open, be transparent. I share my values with my neighbors, and I actually have a neighbor that's as a preacher at a Christian church, but he's my neighbor. And we share foods, we share conversations. I know their kids, they know my kids. But that's what makes Hamtramck one of the greatest places that I can live in, is knowing that I have a neighbor that's a Christian. I have a neighbor that's from Yemen. I have another neighbor that's from Poland, and she's been here maybe 69, 70 years of her life. So for me to engage everybody is let them feel the way that I know how Muslims are. Muslims, we are very peaceful people, and be open and be receptive to communication. I think that's the key, or the only message I can give is communicate with your neighbors, communicate with your community people. Let them know who you are. Let them, invite you. You invite them to your mosque and to your home, because ultimately communication can and will be the key to us getting along and prospering for our future and for our families.
Okay. So what do you think? What is leading our youth to violence and extremism, and what can be done to keep them away from such activities? What should be the role of parents and society? I mean, in general, what can be done to keep them away from such activities like violence, drugs, and extremism?
One, it's there's a multitude of angles that we can look into. you have to first provide an avenue for our youth, our young generation, to be engaged in other things, whether it's community service, whether it's being in a school, whether it being in trade school, learning a career, because not everybody's going to go to college, and we understand that. We have community college. We have community college that have trade programs that we encourage our youth to get involved because they can come out and be a carpenter, be a construction, be a builder, people that actually makes the foundation of our communities work. So we encourage some of those activities and those venues to be open to the future generation. Because once they have opportunities to go to school to be a home builder or a carpenter or a mechanic, they have less time for things that is not condoned, things that are not good for their future or future of any community.
Okay, thank you so very much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. You want to add anything to this?
Yeah.
One thing, Hamtramck is one of the most unique and diverse communities in America. And I encourage anyone, if you have an opportunity to come and cherish and experience our culture, experience our friendly, neighborhoods and our businesses and our restaurants. Hamtramck is looking forward to seeing you. And as they say, Hamtramck is 2.1 square miles, a world in 2.1 square miles. So I encourage anyone to come out and experience us.
We just heard the adhan.
Absolutely.
How come it's loud, and are you allowed to just blow it so loud?
Azan is called 5 times a day. We are one of the only community in America that's have the opportunity and privilege to hear the call to prayer. And vast majority of the time it is very low, and it's respectable to the neighbors and community. Sometimes, it do sound a little bit higher due to everything else being, such, in peace or quiet at that moment. So sometimes it do sound a little bit louder than normal. So majority of the time is reasonable and it's turned down. But sometimes when the community is quiet, not a lot of traffic going around, it do sound a little bit higher than normal. And you are pretty close to one of the mosques that's actually 2 blocks down the street from here.
So how come nobody objects to it?
It's about camaraderie. It's about brotherhood. It's about being a good neighbor. I've grew up in Hamtramck for the last 30 plus years. The church bells, it never bothered me, whether I was a young man or now raising a family here. It's a part of my community. It's accepted. I accept my neighbors. I accept the church bell going off, and I know that's, a time for, prayer. And I respect my neighbor. I respect their religion, as they do mine. So like I said, Hamtramck is very unique. We have 26 different languages spoken in our school district. 26. Yet we don't have the trouble or problem that you would think by having this many diverse and different cultures here that, oh my God, we would be clashing with each other. Unfortunately, it's totally opposite.